full of energy, and a lot of success. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. If you'll all stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll start to call the roll.
Councilmember Lilly. Here. Mizell. Here. Rustin.
Here.
King. Here. Phillips.
Here.
Mayor Mitchell.
Here. Okay, give you a few more seconds to look at the agenda. It's not much on it tonight, a couple of rezonings which shouldn't take. Okay, first item on the agenda, as always, is the consent agenda, which is approval of the minutes of the February 6th regular council meeting. The council has a copy of the minutes. They've had an opportunity to look at those. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Okay, well, if not, let the record show the minutes were approved by unanimous consent. And we'll start with department head reports. And we've got Sergeant Morgan, you're going to represent the police department tonight.
Well, I see a bunch of green, so that's all good stuff.
There we go, you can sit down. Go ahead.
We're right on schedule with our budget. Personnel is good. We have one dispatch position open. We'll be interviewing for that Thursday. Hopefully we'll fill that. Vehicles and equipment, we're doing good there. Training, we've got all our guys set up for quite a bit of training this year. So training is wonderful. And safety, we're doing good with safety. No safety issues that I can think of.
Do you still have, that's not you, never mind, different department. I was going to ask if you had somebody out on workers' comp, you were going to say what? That's not you, it's not the police department. Never mind. All right, you guys got any questions for Sergeant Morgan?
That dispatch, is it full-time or part-time?
It's full-time.
I was gonna ask, does there need to be training for, the past training for dispatcher, or is it somebody new, or do
It's
y'all
gonna be
train?
somebody new.
They do?
We only have, I think we had one application turned in, and we have to fill that spot.
So they learn on the job pretty
Yes,
much?
sir, they learn on the job, and then, after 3 or 4 months, they'll attend the NCIC training, which is a 2-day course, and they'll take it and pass that, and then they're certified to be a dispatcher.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, sir. All right, admin?
Everything is good. Everything's green up top, so we're good right now. Everything's going good at City Hall. At the bottom is our budget information. The first section is general fund, and then the bottom section is all other funds, and everything is looking good so far.
Questions for the clerk? Treasurer? Revenue officer? What other titles
All the
have you
things.
got?
That's all I got, Riley.
All right. Municipal court, we don't have anybody here from the court tonight. Alan and Terry are celebrating their anniversary tonight, so we decided we would let them do that. I don't know if anybody knows how many years.
30.
30? Okay.
Alan, Terry, if you're watching, happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary, yeah. You can see driving school is tomorrow, okay? And then the court's on the 27th. All right, any questions there? All right, Public Works. So Al's got a position open, and he has someone out on workers' comp at this point in time. And I don't believe that that's the position that he's talking about. So he's actually down 2 people because of somebody else. We've got the Rebuild Alabama grant applied for. legislature's in session, and I've been waiting for letters of support from Senator Bell and Representative Ellis, and so I'm gonna have to rattle their cages and say I need to get those and get those in real quick. So last time we were able to send those separately from the actual grant application itself, so it shouldn't be a problem, but I would like to get those in. And further to our meeting, our last meeting, Alan and his guys have been really busy patching potholes on Nelson Walker Road and Chapman Road and several others. So trying to be responsive to the concerns that were being raised. So we've been looking into that, and hopefully maybe next year or in the near future we can put that on the repaving schedule. The Bowie Road issue still, though, is we're going to end up having to have a survey. We've looked at the map and gone out and taken a look at it, and there are actually structures that are in the right-of-way that's going to make that problematic. So we'll see what we can do about that. Any questions? Okay, we'll move on. Board reports. Were there any boards since last
Planning
session?
and zoning met.
Okay.
We had the final plat for, Springs Crossing Sector 5, that was approved. Randy Goggins also did a, subdivision request for the commercial lot in front of Springs Crossing Sector 2 to be divided. Part of that's gonna be the common area, and the other part is, subdivided for another, business.
She's gonna put the common area right there on the highway? On
The
Highway
common
side?
area is behind.
Behind it? Okay.
We had some discussion items. Rob McElroy, was talking about his building that he's redone, the old pool hall, potentially putting apartments on top.
Ooh, that'd be good. I like
He has
that.
some plans for those, so, and this was just all discussion. Corley Ellis was not there, but Dale did have the old original plat for Springs Crossing for the next sector that's RSD, and some of those lots were non-conforming. So Corley's gonna meet with Bill Justice and talk about, since it was approved years ago, how to remedy that and make them more conforming.
Okay, it's not Springs Crossing. What
Not
is it?
Springs
It's,
Crossing, Hidden Springs.
Hidden Springs.
When you
Yeah.
say non-conforming, what does that mean?
Some of them were, the lots were actually so small you could not build a house on them. Tiny, tiny. And then West Davis with High Point, brought some plans for, some property on Highway 47 North that is in city limits. They were gonna subdivide those into the big, like estate lots, agricultural A1, just to show planning and zoning, see if that was something that could come before them at a later time to subdivide, just, showing plans that he has out there.
And it's on 47?
It's
Right near that trailer park, Ruby Drive.
right before Chelsea city limits. Actually, the back part of it is Chelsea city limits, so all the front part is in Columbiana, so.
Okay. Anything else? Any other boards?
No, but I will make a mention, the new lights are up at the tennis courts.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Go take a look at them. They're already on the timer and everything?
Yeah, they go off at they come on at sunset and go off at 10.
Ricky, how many, pickleball courts did you say we could have?
6.
Yeah.
I couldn't remember, I was trying to tell somebody, I said, oh, I can't remember.
And I assume they'll start on those sooner than later. I mean, I think the big thing was the lights, and so any day now they could be fooling around there.
I saw 2 courts full of pickleball games yesterday
They were going at it yesterday.
on the tennis court.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, you could lay
Well,
out
I've
tape
seen
or
it.
whatever,
Yep.
Set
I've
it up
seen
for
people
pickleball.
out there, going out there, so I guess I need to pay attention to what kind of racket they got.
Yep.
All right, anything else?
That's it.
Okay, public hearing. Okay, so we need to have a public hearing on a couple of properties that we would like to rezone. So we will need to suspend this council meeting. So the proper notice of this regular scheduled meeting of the Columbiana City Council was given in advance of this public meeting, and the notice remained posted through this scheduled meeting. So right now, I will entertain a motion to suspend this regularly scheduled council meeting in order to have a public hearing.
I make that motion, we suspend.
Second.
Okay, so in order to suspend the meeting and have the public hearing, the vote for the suspension has to be unanimous. So all in favor of suspending the regular meeting in order to hold a public hearing, I'm going to ask the clerk to call the roll.
Councilmember Lilly?
Yes.
Mizell?
Yes.
Rustin?
Yes.
King?
Yes.
Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Mitchell?
Yes. Okay, so the regular council meeting's been suspended, and we're now in the public hearing. So I call this public hearing in order to hear from anyone speaking for or against the rezoning of parcel, and we don't have maps up here, number 217-351-001-001.000 from RSD, which is Residential Special District, to R1. This property is located at 318 Highway 47 South. Used to be the driving range for the old golf course. Obviously, that does not serve that purpose. It's not being used for that purpose anymore. So the RSD, which is correct me if I get this wrong, Charlene, but the RSD is a zoning category that we no longer have, and it remains in effect as long as the property is being used for the purpose for which it received the RSD. So now it needs to be rezoned, and the recommendation is to rezone it to R1. So council members need to note that the public hearing is not the time for debate. It's time for us to hear from those speaking for or against this zoning request. There'll be an opportunity for discussion once we reconvene the regular council meeting. So at this time, I'd like to ask if there's anybody here who'd like to speak in favor of this rezoning request. Is that in favor, or is that just, you don't want to say anything?
I'm in favor.
Somebody did. Okay, is there anybody here who would like to speak against it? All right. Okay. So now the second parcel, we'd now like to hear from anyone speaking for or against the rezoning of tax parcel number 204-193-001-001.001. That property is currently not zoned. It also does not have anything on it. It has not been developed at all. And it is the requirement, according to, at least from what I understand from our city attorney, that all properties inside the city limits need to be zoned. And so the recommendation is for it to be rezoned from zoned from no zoning to R1. This property is located in the vicinity of 944 Highway 30. It does not actually have a street address, so it's just a property, and 944 is almost, it almost surrounds 944. So is there anybody here who would like to speak in favor of this rezoning request?
Rezone.
Okay. And anybody here who would like to speak against? Okay. So we've had one in favor of both of the rezonings, no one against the rezoning. So at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the public hearing.
I make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, so the public hearing is adjourned, and we will now go back to the regular council meeting agenda. And so the next thing on the agenda is the ordinance for the rezoning. Now, you know, the normal procedure, which we almost seldom do, and maybe we maybe take some liberties that we shouldn't in some cases, but is that you have a reading of the ordinance at one meeting, and then you vote on the ordinance at the next meeting. We can suspend the rules, which is what we normally do. And I'm suggesting again, because these are relatively mundane, that we go ahead and suspend the rules this time. But maybe in the future, if it's not urgent, we probably should follow the process and do a reading and then vote on the ordinances at the next meetings. But so at this time, what I'd like to do is ask for a motion to suspend the rules.
I'll make that motion, we suspend the rules.
Second.
Okay, and go ahead and call the roll on that if you would, please. Charlie.
Councilmember Lilly?
Yes.
Mizell?
Yes.
Rustin?
Yes.
King? Yes. Phillips?
Yes.
Mayor Moore?
Yes. Okay, so, so the ordinance for rezoning the property at 318 Highway 47 South from RSD to R1. We've held the public hearing. As did the planning. The planning commission had a hearing too, right? Okay. So the ordinance is said, therefore it be it ordained by the mayor and the council of the city as follows, that the zoning district boundaries be amended so as to rezone the following property from RSD to R1, and that such rezoning be reflected on the zoning map of the city of Columbiana, and it's the tax parcel that we previously discussed. Provided, however, that such rezoning is subject to the following conditions, which is compliance with the rules, regulations, policies, and procedures of the city of Columbiana. And the city clerk was directed to post this ordinance as required by law. So is there a motion to introduce the ordinance?
I'll make a motion, we, accept ordinance number 022403, it's an ordinance rezoning property at 318 Highway 47 South from RSD to R1.
I'll second.
Okay. And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, the ordinance has been adopted. And so ordinance 022404 is rezoning the property in the vicinity of 944 Highway 30 from no zoning to R1. So we've discussed the property, we've had the public hearings. The planning commission had theirs, we just had ours at the city council. Now therefore be it ordained by the mayor and the council of the city of Columbiana as follows, that the zoning district boundaries be amended so as to rezone the following property from no zoning to R1, and that such rezoning be reflected on the zoning map of the city of Columbiana. It's the tax parcel that we discussed in the location that we discussed, provided, however, that such rezoning is subject to the following condition: compliance with the rules, regulations, policies, and procedures of the city of Columbiana, and that the city clerk be directed to publish or post this ordinance as required by law. So is there a motion to introduce the ordinance?
I'll introduce ordinance number 022404, it's an ordinance, rezoning property from no zoning to R1 at 944 Highway 30 or in the vicinity thereof.
I'll second.
Okay, the ordinance has been introduced and seconded. So all in favor of adopting the ordinance, say aye. Aye. And all opposed? And so let the record reflect that the ordinance is adopted. Okay. Is there any other city business that anybody would like to bring up? It's not really city business per se, but I do want to bring it up. I did receive a phone call, and I knew this has been going on for a while, from Alan Miller, who is the CEO of the American Village, and they have entered into an agreement with the nonprofit Harrison Foundation for the Carl Harrison Museum of George Washington, and that museum is going to be moved to the American Village. Now the movement is going to occur after they've got, as you know, some expansion and construction going on out at the American Village, and so it won't occur until that is complete and they have the location for it, and that could be 25, possibly early 26 before it moves. So it's going to stay where it's at. They will be
I believe, taking over sort of the operation and maintenance of it. There had been some funding issues, obviously, and I think, to be honest with you, as far as getting the visibility of the artifacts there and exposure to it, I think the American Village would be a good location for it. So I just wanted to share that with the council. I hate to lose that. I did talk to Alan, and I said, yes, we hate to lose that in Columbiana, but I said, when it moves out there, make sure if there are any plaques or anything talking about the origin of the exhibit and the memorabilia that that Columbiana gets recognized, and obviously Carl Harrison and the city of Columbiana as being the source of the exhibit there, and he certainly said, "Yep, I have no problem with that." So hopefully, when folks see it, they can tie it back to us here in Columbiana. Mayor's report. Got a storm drainage project update yesterday. We actually had a 30% progress meeting about a week ago with the engineers, and found a technical surprise in that the routing that they had for the storm drains, the culverts underneath the ground, were going to be interfered with by the recently new wastewater sewage drains that we have. So we had to go through a rerouting process. Dale and Alan and I had a discussion with Lance Armbruster yesterday. He went over the new rerouting. He sent me the plans today with any cost changes. So I've got to take a look at that and understand what the cost impact of this rerouting is. But essentially, the stormwater drain was going to run in front of new drainage was going to run in front of Piggly Wiggly, kind of parallel to the new wastewater sewer drain. But then where that drain turns at the actual drainage ditch there between what will soon be Domino's and CDS, there really was not a way to get it around that 24-inch pipe effectively without impacting, the flow of the storm drain. So we're going to reroute it, and instead of it actually going through that Domino's parking lot, it's actually going to go around Domino's and kind of behind it around the ABC store and dump back in that drainage ditch back there, which those two drainage tributaries, as our engineers call them, feed the same place anyway. It's just more pipe, so there's going to be some additional costs associated with that. I talked with Wayman Rasco. They don't have any issues with granting an easement and with what we're planning on doing. And I also talked to the owners of Domino's. We're going to cut through a little corner of their property as well, so they don't have any issues as well. So more to come on that once I get a chance to digest the plans and the cost estimate. Mayor's Association meeting is tomorrow at the Alabaster Police Department. That's a new facility that the mayor's wanting to show off. This is kind of new, I think, fairly new. Congressman Palmer has his Washington update with all the mayors in his district, and that's on the 23rd, which is that'd be Friday.
Is that just the mayors?
Yeah, just the mayors. He invites all the mayors in his district.
Sometimes though he comes for everybody, doesn't he?
He comes here. I mean, this is at Hoover City Hall, and he typically has this meeting always at Hoover City Hall.
Okay.
I wish he'd have it other places as well, but they have a good venue for it there anyway. Cowboy Day, of course, I'm sure Allie's going to talk about that on Saturday. State of our Community Luncheon at the Pelham Civic Complex. That's something we do every year, sponsored by the Chamber, and that's on the 28th. This ATEF celebration, this is the Alabama Therapeutic Education Facility over there on, that's industrial. I just had to think for a minute if it was McDowell or industrial, so it's industrial. It's essentially like a graduation ceremony, so I was invited to go to that. I've been to the facility a couple times. It's actually a really nice program there, so, looking forward to that. That's on, Leap Day. That's pretty much it for me. Any questions?
When's the guy filming here? Next Friday?
Oh,
It's the 26th, so that's
Monday.
Monday. Thank you.
It's Monday.
did he by any chance come to the last court? He had mentioned maybe coming and observing how we
He did.
did court. Okay. Announcements.
All right, so this Saturday is Cowboy Day. It will start about 9 o'clock and last until 3-ish. It's gonna be a fun day. Lots of cowboy things. We have over 100 vendors this time, which is a whole lot. So it's gonna be a good day.
I'm
The
giving,
Beautification Board has their Arbor Day tree giveaway on the 2nd of March, and the Bunny Tea, the Beautification Board Bunny Tea is the 16th, so.
I'm gonna give my, students at Montevallo extra credit to come to Cowboy Day.
Oh, good.
That's a good idea.
I've got one who needs it, and he actually asked me if he could get extra credit, so.
If he could
So
come
he
by
has
the
to wear
city
a cowboy.
tent,
That's
Come by
funny.
and get a little cowboy.
we'll verify that he came if he'll come to the city tent. Yeah.
That's funny.
He's a good kid. He's from Columbia, and he's smart. Does a good job on everything in class and his homework, but he struggles taking exams. And, but anyway, so he asked me if he could do some extra credit. So I thought I'd just say, come to Cowboy
If
Day.
he helps clean up afterwards, that may
Yeah.
get it.
You made it
Great
great.
hour.
You're right.
He can help us serve at the Bunny
Okay.
Tea too.
Any questions for Ally?
He can help us serve at the Easter Bunny Tea.
Now,
Liberty
you know,
Day.
I'm promising that these guys. He's on the swimming team, and the swimming team is actually in Cleveland, Ohio, all this week at a competition. So I don't even know if he'll be back on Saturday. So,
Well, we'll give him another chance.
yeah.
We got other stuff. he can do.
Christmas parade,
Yeah.
lobster wall.
There you go. Okay. Comments, questions for anybody? Okay.
Looking forward to Saturday.
If not, I'll entertain